Sartre's radical vision, a revolutionary approach to human existence. Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, radically redefined the way we understand human existence, freedom, and responsibility. As a leading figure of existentialism, Sartre rejected traditional notions of predetermined human nature, instead arguing that individuals must define themselves through their actions and choices. His philosophy challenged the foundations of metaphysics, ethics, and psychology, offering a vision of human life that emphasizes autonomy, responsibility, and the necessity of creating meaning in an indifferent universe. Sartre's ideas continue to shape discussions in philosophy, literature, psychology, and political thought, making his legacy deeply relevant to contemporary existential struggles. Existentialism, a philosophy of radical freedom, at the core of Sartre's existentialist philosophy is the famous assertion that existence precedes essence. Unlike traditional religious or metaphysical views that assume a human being has a predefined essence or purpose, Sartre argued that individuals exist first and then define themselves through their actions. This means that there is no inherent meaning, divine blueprint, or moral framework imposed upon humanity from the outset. Instead, each person must create their own purpose through conscious decisions and lived experiences. This idea leads to radical personal responsibility. Since there are no external authorities dictating the course of one's life, each individual must bear the full weight of their choices. This view contrasts sharply with deterministic perspectives that suggest human actions are governed by fate, divine will, or natural laws. For Sartre, freedom is absolute, but it comes at a cost, the inescapable burden of responsibility for everything we do. The burden of freedom and the experience of anguish. With absolute freedom comes what Sartre calls anguish, the deep, often unsettling realization that we are solely responsible for our choices and the consequences they bring. This feeling arises because in the absence of predefined meaning or guidance, every decision we make carries profound significance. We are not only shaping our own lives, but also setting an example for others. Sartre illustrates this concept through the idea of bad faith, mauvaise foi, a psychological state in which individuals deceive themselves to escape the anxiety of total freedom. Bad faith occurs when people conform to societal expectations, predefined roles, or self-imposed limitations rather than embracing their true capacity for choice. For example, a waiter who excessively identifies with his role as a server, acting in a mechanical and exaggerated way, denies his own freedom by reducing himself to a mere function. Similarly, people who claim they have no choice in certain Sartre and the absurd, confronting a meaningless universe. Sartre, like his existentialist contemporary Albert Camus, engaged with the idea of the absurd, the realization that human beings seek meaning in a universe that provides none. However, while Camus embraced a philosophy of rebellion against this absurdity, Sartre emphasized personal responsibility in constructing meaning from within. He argued that recognizing the absurd nature of existence does not lead to despair, but rather to liberation. Without an external purpose imposed by God or nature, individuals are free to create their own values, morals, and purposes. This freedom can feel overwhelming, as it forces us to acknowledge that there are no objective guidelines for how to live. Yet, Sartre insisted that this recognition should not lead to nihilism, but instead to a deep engagement with life. He urged individuals to embrace the absurdity of existence as a means of self-determination, actively shaping their own reality rather than being passive recipients of societal norms or religious doctrines. Sartre's political and social engagement. While Sartre's existentialism is often associated with abstract philosophical ideas, he was deeply engaged with social and political issues. He believed that existentialism had direct implications for justice, oppression, and freedom in society. Sartre was a staunch advocate for Marxism, though he sought to reconcile it with existentialism, arguing that personal freedom and social responsibility must coexist. His political activism led him to support anti-colonial movements, particularly in Algeria and Vietnam. He criticized capitalism for its dehumanizing effects and explored the ways in which social structures restrict individual freedom. Sartre's later work focused on how existentialist ideas could be applied to collective liberation, emphasizing that political and economic systems should be structured to allow genuine human freedom rather than mere subjugation to oppressive institutions. Modern relevance. Sartre's lasting legacy. Jean-Paul Sartre's existentialist philosophy remains highly relevant in today's world. His ideas continue to influence psychology, particularly in discussions about identity, anxiety, and personal growth. His concept of bad faith is frequently referenced in critiques of consumer culture, social media, and modern forms of self-deception, where individuals conform to externally imposed roles rather than embracing their true selves. In an era where questions of authenticity, freedom, and self-definition are more pressing than ever, Sartre's philosophy provides a framework for navigating contemporary existential dilemmas. Whether in the realms of art, politics, or personal development, his insistence on individual responsibility and authentic existence offers a powerful guide for those seeking meaning in an uncertain world. Conclusion. Sartre's call to action. Sartre's existentialism is not merely a set of abstract philosophical principles. It is a call to action. It challenges us to confront our freedom head-on, reject false excuses, and take responsibility for shaping our own lives. By embracing the reality of our existence without illusions, we gain the power to live authentically and create our own meaning. Jean-Paul Sartre's legacy is one of intellectual courage and radical responsibility. In a world that often seeks to impose preordained identities and expectations, his philosophy reminds us that we alone are the architects of our fate. His work continues to inspire those who seek to live with purpose, integrity, and an unflinching commitment to personal freedom.